at the cabin today trying to get in some of my early spring veggie garden. There's still a little bit of risk of frost around here for the next couple of weeks, so I'm just going to get in things like my potatoes and my onions right now. I think I'll wait a few more weeks just to get the more perishable, fragile things in, like beans and peas and things like that. Maybe I'll start them inside and then I'll bring them up. You guys have seen this before in one of my previous videos of the tour of my camp. So here it is. This is my little potato patch. And gets a lot of sun during the day and very loamy soil. So I tend to do pretty good, in this spot. I've got brought with me some manure. Just add a little bit more compost into there because I've used it a couple years now and I want to replenish the nutrients. And I've also got some cedar mulch to put on top, and maybe the cedar will repel some of the insects that like to plague the potatoes. And then I'm thinking, back towards the cabin there, in the woods, I'm going to put in my onions. I've done that before and it's worked out well. It's just a little bit more, shaded in there, and it's a bit easier for them to thrive in the woods and not get all scorched out. There's always a risk, obviously, the deer are going to love it, but I've been fortunate in the past that I've done okay with the onions in there. All right, so I'll get started. You guys will get to sit back and enjoy while I sweat to death here. It's pretty warm out. It's in the 20s and a little bit of a breeze, so thankfully that's in my favor today, but lots of hard work coming up. Okay, so I've finished putting in the compost. I put in 4 15-kilogram bags, so I'm hoping that does something to nourish my little plants. So I'll just show you here. Looks a lot better. Definitely looks a little bit more rich. All right, guys, I'm going to show you what I've got in terms of potatoes today. These Mackenzie Yukon Gold seed potatoes. They take a little bit to mature, a little over 3 months. And you got that nice little oval shape there, and they're good for all purposes, which is good because I like my potatoes anyway. All right, so what we'll do is we will get planting, and then after that I'm going to put on some of that cedar mulch just to kind of mulch them in, and then as the potato greens come up, I'm going to put more mulch on top of it because you want to kind of keep the leaves semi-covered or they sort of get yellow and dried up, and it helps with the potatoes to help them grow. Okay, here I go again. So here I want to show you one of the little potatoes up close. You can see that it's got several eyes on it, little sprouts. So each of these potatoes will actually serve to grow a couple of plants at least. I like to have at least a couple of eyes on each wedge of potato that I'll put in the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'll just end up sort of cutting them, but making sure there are a couple of eyes on each wedge before I stick it in the ground. So I'm just going to kind of cut it up here. Like so. So basically you can see now I've got 2 parts and they will make 2 plants. So I'm just going to use this little cedar shim here to dig a little bit of a hole, a little trench. I make 2 or 3 rows here. And when you're ready, you just stick them in the ground. And we'll cover them over after. Usually point the eyes facing upward if you can. We'll continue on. guys, I'm going to have a little break now, have some lunch, and then after lunch, I want you guys to join me. We're going to plant some onions. All right, talk to you in a minute. All right, what's for lunch today? Well, embarrassingly enough, Mr. Noodles. Spicy chicken. Oh well. Got lots going on today. I don't have time to make a gourmet meal, and I forgot those Vienna sausages. So I guess I'm going to have to deal with these Mr. Noodles here. I want to show you actually this cool little thing that I use to just do quick little boil ups, you know, in the field or just at the cabin here, versus getting out the, you know, the propane. As you can see, it's just made out of the bottom of a pop can. Drilled some holes in there, stuck another part of the pop can in here, drilled some more holes. What's actually inside and what you can hear is perlite. And so that's, you know, doesn't catch fire or anything like that, but it helps absorb some of the liquid we're going to use to start my stove here. On the outside, I think this is just the bottom of an apple juice or a pineapple juice container sort of cut up, and you can put it on as sort of like just to protect against the wind, and you can put your pot on the top there. What I use to cook with is methyl hydrate. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty good to use. Doesn't produce a large flame or anything, so you want to be very careful with it. But just enough to fill up this little container. We'll boil a small pot of water just to make my my Mr. Noodles. So let's get started. I'm just carefully filling it up here. I think that's pretty good. Just gonna check it. A little bit more. You get methyl hydrate at most hardware stores or Canadian Tire or something like that. All right, I'm gonna put my little wind shield on here, and then I'm gonna light this up. So there you go. It's all lit, and you can't really see a flame. So you want to be really careful. I've got my little pot of hot water I'm just going to stick on here. All right. We'll make these noodles. Well, that turned out pretty good. Gonna have some lunch here, and actually when I was driving up to the cabin here, I noticed this was, if you can see this was on my fence. It's our 2016 census, so I've got to fill that out and mail that in the next few days, or just complete online. There you go. You know, I'm so fortunate to come up here just on my day off to kind of get things done around the cabin. Been raking around the cabin, putting in the potato garden, the onions, just, you know, tidying up a little bit, getting ready for the summer. It's neat. I've heard some of my, you know, old woodland friends, I guess, back here. A couple of kestrels are looking to nest, and so they're swooping along the field. They've been here now for 3 or 4 years. They keep coming back to the same tree, which is really cool. The other one I just heard too was a broad-winged hawk. Last year they nested just a little bit west, on the west end of the cabin there, and in one of the aspens, I think. I could never find the nest, but I could hear them all the time. And, you know, they'd swoop down here in the morning when I was having breakfast and start, you know, yapping at me or whatever. I think they were concerned about what I was going to do, but, you know, they were pretty good. They didn't try to attack me or anything. So yeah, I heard them back. So I think that's really neat. You know, they get these individuals that come back. You know, they're creatures of habit just like us. They're going to come back to the same spots and everything like that. It's amazing to me how they remember that as well. But I guess it's their home, you know, so they're going to return back after their winter down south in South America or wherever they go. So for my vegetable gardens, save for the, you know, potatoes and onions that I'm putting in, I'm thinking of making sort of wooden boxes, planters, you know, to put them in, just to get them elevated off the ground and a little bit more nutritious soil in there for them. I don't know, I'm thinking of either using regular, like, lumber from the, you know, from like Home Depot or something like that, Or, you know, preferably I'd actually like to get some wood from the forest and just kind of make a, you know, a natural looking planter box. So I've got a few weeks to think of that. Like I said, still risk of frost around here, so I don't really want to put stuff in right now, so I can start building the boxes. But I'll start planting maybe in the next 3-4 weeks or so, just so that nothing gets frostbitten. That happened to me last year, and that wasn't a good experience. So last year I had a pallet garden, 2 pallets put together, and I did some wattle work fence around it. You saw that on my cabin tour video. But I found that this, you know, the depth of the soil in there was not very deep, and you know, everything just kind of got like runted and everything, and it was too hot in that field, even though I had kind of like a burlap blanket shade over it. Things just didn't really work out too well there. So I'm gonna think of a different location this year, and like I said, a planter box. So you know, we'll see how it goes. Definitely got some, you know, lettuce, radishes, Swiss chard, beans, peas. I think some squash. I'll have to check on that, but lots of different seeds. I picked them up from OSC Seeds, and they were mailed to me, so that's pretty cool. So I don't know what you guys are up to for this summer. I hope to get here most weekends in the summer to kind of work on things. Got to finish the interior, you know, the siding, the flooring. Got to work on you know, putting that kitchen in. I've got sort of the bottom cupboards and stuff, which is nice, because that means that I'm gonna be able to get stuff out of boxes and, you know, tubs everywhere, you know, just sort of put them in a nice looking cupboard, you know. Get more floor space as well. I really want to put in a couch. We don't have anything like that. It's just like patio furniture heaven in there, so I don't know, I'm just going to kind of make it a little bit nicer, I guess. So that'll take some time, but hopefully by the end of the summer and early fall it's going to look amazing inside. But we'll just take it a day at a time. All right, now that I've had my lunch and a bit of a break, what I'm going to do is plant these onions. So I've got a few different ones. I've got these multiplier onions right here. So just basically your green onions, which are good to put in salads and things like that. And then I've got a whole lot of white onions. So I'll try to get those in there. So they should be about 2.5 centimeters deep and 2.5 centimeters apart. So I've got lots of space here. I'm gonna kind of put them sort of right in here. Just gonna rake the leaves away, and then there's some pretty rich soil in here, so I'm just gonna start planting them in there. And I don't know, I'll probably come back, the deer will have eaten them, but oh well, what can you do? I guess I'll share with them. Now I've got all the soil kind of turned over here. I'm just gonna go through and plant a bunch of these onions. Well, the onions are in. Very pleased with myself. I got a lot done here on my day off. Other things I've done is sort of clean up around the camp here. I raked all the leaves away from the cabin. Nice clean area there. Another thing that I did was I mulched this is my little flower garden. Got a few little things in here, including, you can see, it's hyacinth. They're very pretty. Smell good too. Got tulips kind of in this corner here. I transplanted that spruce. I'm thinking I'll kind of keep it around in this area too. And this here, sometimes I'll plant some potted greens like a bok choy and things like that. That's it for today, guys. I'm gonna head back to town now, reluctantly, albeit. I hope you guys have a great week as always, and I look forward to sharing more of my adventures with you next week. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit thumbs up if you like more videos like this. All right, have a great week.